So I've been very much into my hot girl fits era, fast decision making, want to grow, innovate resolutions. Like if you have like the stereotypical January person who sets high goals and who wants to learn new languages, new skills, plan well, dress better, it's me. Hello. And I've shared this before, but I have a lot of people who don't really, like in my environment, for example, my brothers are like, what, New Year's resolutions? Although I will say they used to be like this, but I've caught my brothers doing a lot of healthy shit over the past few weeks. So maybe we're influencing each other for the better. But long story short, I've been very much into my self-development these past few weeks. I've been really infusing myself with like motivation, inspiration, positivity, listening to podcasts again, audiobooks, going to the gym, going for walks, and I have been loving it. One of the things I've realized is also that I need to keep doing that in order to stay motivated and not lose track of certain things. For example, my health. And some other things have also popped up for me that I see some of my clients struggling with things I personally haven't struggled with for years. And in this episode, I'm going to share one superpower that every business owner needs, but that sadly a lot of startup owners or starting business owners don't have.
Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, the show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday.
Today we're going to be talking about decision making and how to get out of decision paralysis. I have clients who come to me and they say, I've been following your challenge and I have this niche, but I'm stuck between choosing between this digital product or that digital product, or I'm stuck choosing what I should do or which price I should set or which platform to use. And what it always comes down to is that people are stuck making decisions. So in this episode, we're going to make it short and sweet. I'm going to walk you through how you can get out of decision paralysis. Success favors the fast. I shared it in last week's episode, which was all about 2025 business predictions. If you haven't listened to that one yet, by the way, definitely go and check it out. I shared my top business predictions for 2025 that are going to help you win. But one of the things I shared is that speed is massively important. After all, it's fast forward Amy, not slow down Amy, although for my health, sometimes I do practice a little bit of slow down Amy. Maybe I should make an Instagram account that's called Slow Down Amy. Wouldn't that be funny? I'm going to write that down. That would actually be a really funny project. Slowing down my nervous system. Okay, back to what we're actually talking about. So, success favors speed. The most successful people in the world are really good at going fast. This is also what I have seen after having coached over 8,000 people to business success, financial success, independence, being able to, retire their husband, buy their dream house, do big launches, quit their job. All of that these are people who take fast action. These are not people who overthink for a really, really long time. Now, I know how difficult that is because I am personally a lot of an overthinker, but I've learned to not do that anymore business-wise and to just make really quick decisions. So I've kind of hacked myself that every time I need to do something, for example, let's take these podcast episodes. My microphone is not perfect. I don't know how well the audio in this episode is. But I'm if I listen to this later on and it's total shit, I can always re-record it. But at least now I already have an episode and an outline. Last week I needed to make a video and I had been postponing creating these onboarding videos for a really long time. Then I just told myself, okay, you know what, Amy, you can always create these again, but experiment and create your first version. Just already do it. So this is one of the ways I get myself out of action paralysis, is by doing things perfectly imperfect. But there's also such a thing as decision paralysis. And this often happens when people come to me with a bunch of questions at the same time. So let's look at something you might be stuck with right now. you might be stuck, for example, with how much you should price your course and if you should include videos or not. And because you are asking yourself multiple questions at the same time, you are kind of, oh yeah, and who you should make it for kids or for parents, for example, and or for women. And because you are asking yourself multiple questions at the same time, you get paralyzed because it starts feeling really, really big and you don't know what to do. It's kind of the same as like when you're starting out your online business. This is, by the way, this is exactly why I created a 21-day challenge, so you don't have to be paralyzed by all of the steps because I've outlined the steps. But you might be thinking, what do I do first? I don't know what to do first because there's so much I need to do. What I always teach my clients is you need to cut up the decisions. So don't ask yourself multiple decisions at the same time, but cut up the decisions. So if the question is, how much should I price my course? Who should I make it for? And do I need to include videos or not? We can just ask one of those questions first. So the first question should probably be, who do we make the course for? Like, what's the biggest market who have the most pain? Well, in terms of like, do I make it for kids or for women? I'll often say, as an example, like women, bigger market, they have the decision power, the buying power. So probably best to make it for either the moms or the women, for example. So now that we know that, we can move on to the next question, which is, either do we put in videos or not, or which price should we make? So first, I would say, like, did you have a preference? Like, what did your ideal course look like? Or usually I'll ask my clients, actually, this is one simple question before we dive into any decisions. I'll ask them, what is your end goal? And they might say, oh, I just want to help as many people as possible. Or they might say, oh, I want to make my first $1,000 online, for example. So I'll always go back to, what is your end goal? Okay, so let's say someone says, I want to make my first $1,000. And then I'll ask them, okay, do you already have an audience or not? But what I won't do is be like, make videos and put this price point on it without having all of the information. The mistake people make is that they mix up all of their decisions and they forget to look at the end goal. But from the moment you know what your end goal is, you're saying like, oh, I want to help young women, like as many as possible, to, I don't know, overcome insulin sensitivity or insulin resistance, for example. Then we'll be like, okay, so what would be the best way to help them? Through text or video? Or is there anything you feel most comfortable in? What are you best at? And then they might say, oh, I think like I like learning through video. 70% of people are more visual, so video would be great. And then we would say, okay, so what are you going to include in the course? And then we would look at, okay, so what's going to be the price point? Or we would reverse it and say, do you have a preferential price point in mind? And if then someone tells me, oh, 100 euros, I would say, well, it's pretty difficult to make a text-based product for 100 euros without video. So you're going to have to include video. But it always starts by asking yourself, what is my end goal? Working backwards from there and cutting up the different decisions. So if you're currently stuck in decision paralysis, simply ask yourself the question, what is my end goal? What is the most important thing I want to accomplish? And then ask yourself one question at a time before you've hit all of your decisions. Because often people get stuck in meetings or in talks and they go round and round and like, oh, wouldn't this be nice? And then maybe we can add that and this and that. And I'm like, okay, but what's the end goal? Because then sometimes people are like, yeah, we can hire a professional team and spend a lot of money. Like, what's the end goal? Oh, to make money. To make money or make a profit? Make a profit. Okay, then keep your costs low. Oh, to have the first product. Okay, then you don't need a professional camera crew. So yeah, I hope this is like ringing a bell or I don't know, it's arriving. Because I think if you can just teach yourself to make faster decisions, this is going to be the number one skill you need, not just as a business owner, but also as a CEO who has a team, because your team is going to need decisions from you all day long. My team needs decisions from me a lot, but the best thing I was able to do was teach them how to make decisions. And I've always been teaching them, like, go and look at the end goal. What's the end goal? Oh, a 200K launch? Okay, then make all of your decisions based on that, not based on the exceptions, and cut up the decisions. So the next time you are stuck on creating or on making a decision, ask yourself, what's my end goal? What do I want to accomplish here? And then you ask yourself one question at a time and try to organize it in terms of highest impact questions first. If you learn to ask yourself the right questions, making the decisions is going to be a lot easier. Okay, good luck. And I think one of the things that really helps in terms of making decisions is also having a really clear plan. So for example, when I'm launching, something I notice is that a lot of people, they don't know at what time they're launching. They don't know when they're sending out emails, when they're going live, when they're creating social content. But if you have a launch, you can easily triple your results by just having a better plan. And that's why I've been planning out my entire 2025 year. I also just did a one-on-one coaching day with a client. She's having a baby soon. So we were like, we really had to map out the next couple of months very clearly, because we know that by the time she goes into labor, we need to make sure that everything has happened. So we made her 2025 plan, at least for the first 2 quarters. I've made my entire year's plan. I can still adjust things, but like the pencil plan is there. And I highly recommend you do the same. And when you're making the plan, try to make decisions already. Say which date, which time, when are you going live, when does it open, when does it close? It's going to give you so much peace of mind if everything has been laid out already. So if you want my digital planner, I created a tutorial to go along with it. I created a digital sheet with an overview of 2025, as well as a week by week overview where you can set targets for your week. And that's also something that's going to help you make decisions. Let's say you're overwhelmed with all of the work you need to do in a day. That probably has to do with the fact that you have a bunch of tasks. You're like, oh, what do I do first? Then we ask ourselves, what are your top 3 targets for the week? And if you know your top targets, then it's going to be easier to do the right tasks first. So that 2025 planner is going to help you with all of that. I'll include the link in the description of this episode, or just simply go to Instagram, go to my page, FastForwardAmy, and DM me the word 2025 planner, all one word. So 2025 planner, all one word. DM me that, and I'll send you the link to my Google Sheet that you can use to map out your entire year and to triple your results. Okay, good luck, and talk to you next week. Bye.